Hey guys, your boy Shaun back with you with another episode of Sunday Sports Rap with Shaun. This is episode 22. Of course, before I get started, shout out to Cinescape Media. Make sure you subscribe to Cinescape.media. It was a great week, you guys. This is exactly what I thought my show, my podcast would be. Obviously, when I first started this, I wanted, there was going to be tons of sports I get to talk about. The NBA season was going to be coming to a close. NHL was going to start picking things up. Baseball season. But also, we know because of the coronavirus, everything was delayed. Everything got pushed back. Some leagues just got shut down. And we have to wait till like 2021 to see what goes on with that. But due to careful planning, obviously, by NBA, NHL, baseball's doing a horrible job. I'll get to that in a second. We have content. I have tons of content today. You guys, I know I try to make, from these other episodes, 1 through 20, 21, I've tried to find a way to, stretch the show as long as I can, but I don't have to this time. This is going to be a good, decently long episode, definitely an hour length, because, again, we have so much content because of the fact that sports is back. So we're going to start here in Major League Baseball. Not the best news to start out because obviously what's going on in Major League Baseball if you haven't followed the news. So let's get right into it. This is Sunday Sports Rap with Shaun, episode 22, Major League Baseball news of the week. Coronavirus has hit the baseball season. Major League Baseball made the announcement the Miami Marlins games would be postponed because of a report this week that an outbreak of positive tests of coronavirus came back for players and staff members of the Miami Marlins. The total positive test at this point was 17. It had a ripple effect, of course, on the rest of the Major League Baseball. So it only took like 2 days. Major League Baseball came back like last week, I think during the weekend, and out of nowhere, you got to report that a total of 17 people on the Miami Marlins caught the coronavirus. I believe it was like 12 players and 5 staff members. I could have had those numbers wrong. The point is, it was a total of 17, and like I said again, it had a ripple effect on Major League Baseball as a whole. And the ripple effect was this, because obviously, the Miami Marlins plays other teams. For starters, the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies was the first team the Marlins played this year and didn't find out about the test results until after their 3 games against the Marlins. So after their little 3-game series that they usually have in baseball between the Phillies and Marlins, the Philadelphia Phillies did not know about these test results until after. So I'm pretty sure if you're a Philadelphia Philly fan or just a player or an organization in general, you was pissed off because, you're playing this team for 3 straight games and you don't even know the fact that 17 people was, at least 12, a good amount of players was positive for the coronavirus. So that to me is, that is frustrating on its own, in my opinion. Now, because of this, the Phillies had to be off. They had to be off until Friday when they were supposed to play the Yankees on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So their next series they had was against the New York Yankees. But of course, because the Miami Marlins confirmed that, they was positive, they had players positive for coronavirus. They obviously, the Phillies being that team that played them, they had to quarantine themselves for those 3 days, for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when they're supposed to face the New York Yankees. Now the Phillies at this point have stopped all baseball activities until they are cleared. That was the last report that I wrote on them. It had a ripple effect on the Baltimore Oilers. Oilers. Oh my goodness, this is my team. I still can't say their name right. The Baltimore Orioles were supposed to face the Marlins Tuesday through Thursday. The next team like I said, the Phillies the next team they were supposed to face was the New York Yankees. But because of that, they had to postpone those games. And the Baltimore was supposed to face the Marlins up next for Tuesday through Thursday. But those games were canceled. And the Washington Nationals were supposed to face the Miami Marlins Friday to Sunday. All this week. It was all this week. A lot of stuff had to be changed up. Now, what was reported, the Washington Nationals players were so pissed about the results that they actually voted to not play the Miami Marlins. It was reported that the Miami Marlins is the only team at this time that tested positive for the coronavirus. I was writing this out throughout the week, so I have updates, obviously, when it came out that they were the only team that was positive, because it was also reported that the same week that the St. Louis Cardinals had 2 players tested positive for coronavirus. There wasn't a lot of ripple effect for the St. Louis Cardinals. I think they said they just quarantined those players and there was really nothing else to worry about. But as the Miami Marlins, man, they had to, you saw what happened, man. It was a complete ripple effect for the rest of the as far as the league, because it didn't really stop. Major League Baseball did not stop playing their games, but it had a good, decent effect on the rest of the league when you're talking about who the Miami Marlins up to upcoming schedule, upcoming team they have to they have to play against. So again, Baltimore is supposed to play the Marlins, New York Yankees supposed to play the Marlins, and the Phillies had to, they stopped their baseball activities till now, and so everything comes back good with them. I believe they're supposed to continue their activities next week, but at this week they have not played. As of this week, they have not played another game. Going back to last weekend, I believe on Saturday, after they got done facing the Miami Marlins because of the positive test. So yeah, again, man, baseball. A lot of people are saying they don't know why baseball didn't just do a bubble system like the NBA. I mean, I guess the way that Major League Baseball is looking at it, they have so many teams and keep all those guys in one area and maybe two stadiums they would play at. And keep them in a hotel. I don't know. I mean, maybe they could have done that. It's just a lot of teams that you have to deal with compared to the NBA, where they only invited 22 teams back, and only because the NBA was in the middle of their season and they're just trying to hurry up and get to the playoffs. Because right now, if you look at the NBA, they're only playing 8 regular season games. Then when all that's settled, they'll just do the playoffs and then that's it. Baseball is playing a total of 60 games. Then they're still doing the playoffs if they decide to end this, have the season at all. And the reason why I say that is this. And also, real quick, I'm just finding it crazy. It took 2 days after the season started. It's insane. Like the coronavirus, man, just continues to dominate the news. Remember, I told you I'm happy sports is back, but this is crazy. I actually posted a sarcastic question on my Facebook, on Twitter, whatever. Saying that is Major League Baseball season already canceled? Again, who knows what will come of this? Again, it seems like they're trying their best to fix everything. But again, it's how long is people going to want to put up, especially the players and the coaches, the staff and everything. How long are they going to put up with this? That if a team gets the coronavirus, you have to basically change their entire, at least half of their schedule around because you're trying to make sure that they don't affect another team. Or, of course, in this case, if you're the Philadelphia Phillies, if you already dealt with a team that has the coronavirus, now you have to basically turn off, switch off what you're doing until it's safe to play baseball and continue your season. Well, one player was not going to wait for that to happen. For it to get canceled. Milwaukee's player at this point is just one guy, but Milwaukee Brewers player Lorenzo Cain opted out for the rest of the season. Now, because all these things happened this week with the coronavirus in the Major League Baseball season, I just want to ask you guys a question, baseball fans. How do you think the Major League Baseball Commissioner, Rob Manfred, has handled this? If you guess poor, then you are right. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred made a statement that he told Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark on Friday that if the sport doesn't do a better job of managing the coronavirus, the season could be shut down. So again, Rob Manfred keeps proving why fans, want him to not be the, commissioner anymore. I mean, like, what type of leadership is that? Like, isn't this your job? I don't understand that. Like, for him to come out and make that demand, like, if the Player Association basically, he's putting it on the players, by the way. The Major League Baseball Player Association Executive Director Tony Clark is exactly what it sounds like. The guy speaks on behalf of the players in Major League Baseball. So what kind of leadership is that showing, the fact that you come right out and you just basically say, look, you guys better get this coronavirus. First of all, Major League Baseball, how can you can't control the coronavirus, man. You only could try to, I guess you could say, try to contain as much damage as it's given out, man. If someone gets sick, you try to quarantine, blah blah blah. That's been the stick for every single league that's coming back or is going to come back this year. Again, but isn't that his job? As a commissioner, your priority to protect your players. This shouldn't be on the players to do better. This needs to be on the league as well. I'm not saying the players don't need to do better either. Don't, make sure they're doing a good job, washing their hands, make sure they're taking care of themselves on a hygiene and all the other standpoint. But this is on the league as well. I hate how Rob Manfred made it like, oh man, it's just, it's on the players to do better. That's not fair. It's not the Miami Marlins' fault that they got the damn coronavirus, man. Like, listen, the league in general, Rob Manfred and all the higher-ups, in Major League Baseball, they agreed to bring the season back too. It should not just be on the players. I don't know what kind of leadership is that he just demands that that they fix everything and that they get it under control. Remember, this is brand new. This is unprecedented times. Everyone is trying as they're going, and, trying their best to do what they can despite this epidemic that is going on right now. Now, Rob Manfred did come out and said that he's not a quitter, that he said they're not going to quit, trying to, keep the season going. But again, instead of just saying that, he had to flood the headlines with his demands on the baseball, that the Player Association better get this under control. He could have just came out and said the second thing. Look, man, we're not quitters. We're trying our best. We're going to make sure that there's a baseball season played out this year. Excuse me. So that is it on as far as Major League Baseball. There's still a little bit more news I'm going to get to, but yeah, guys, coronavirus has hit the Major League Baseball season, and it looks right now. It does not look good. I would not be surprised, give it some time, that the season will be canceled because, like I said, I already named to you one player. Didn't really break down as much about Lorenzo Cain, but I just saw on Twitter that I didn't really see a report. Actually, it's weird, but I saw on Twitter that he did back out of the season. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be again ripple effect, man. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys is probably going to look into this like, look, this is not worth it. I can wait till next season. I'm going to opt out, and not play this Mickey Mouse games on how they're dealing with this coronavirus, man. Moving on though, Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Joe Kelly was suspended for 8 games this week. Major League Baseball handed out the suspension to the Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly because Joe Kelly, during a game against Houston Astros, and wait for it, threw a fastball behind Houston Astros batter Alex Berkman's head. Alex Berkman was the batter. Joe Kelly was the reliever pitcher for the Dodgers, and he threw a fastball behind Alex Berkman's head. Well, listen, it was going to happen sooner or later with the Astros. If you don't know, I'm not going to break down every single thing. Again, you should not be probably sleeping under a rock if you don't know what's going on with the Houston Astros. But it was going to happen sooner or later with the Astros. If you didn't know, the Houston Astros is the most hated team in baseball right now. Hell, maybe all sports if they because they was caught cheating, sign stealing, etc., during the recent years in baseball. They basically cheated. So it was coming. We knew that once the season started that there was going to be players of any team possibly that faced the Astros was going to really show their frustration when they go up, against the Astros. And this was one way that the Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly did exactly what I thought was going to happen sooner or later, and that is throw a ball behind the head. Basically throw a ball. It could be behind the head. It could be after the head. It don't matter. I knew sooner or later a team was going to take a shot at the Astros players when they face the Astros. Now, look, just a quick breakdown. I 100% agree with Major League Baseball that they gave him the 8-game suspension. Look, yes, the Astros cheated, and they should have been suspended themselves. There should have been more ripple effect to their cheating. I don't know why I'm using ripple effect so much. Just that word, that 2 words keep popping in my head. But there should have been more sanctions handed down on the Houston Astros for cheating. But come on. Yeah, these guys, these players, they don't deserve to get hit and hurt permanently in the brain or whatever you're throwing the baseball at. A hard-ass baseball. I don't know if you've ever been hit with a baseball before, but they hurt. Especially when these dudes are throwing fastballs trying to hit you. So I don't agree with that. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's stupid. Yes, they cheated. And again, I believe it's really messed up that they cheated. But you should not be cheering. I saw fans happy. People on Twitter happy that and upset that more teams at this point has not done that to the Astros. Dude, these guys don't deserve permanent brain damage for cheating. I think they should deserve to be suspended or for a whole season, whatever. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But still, they don't deserve permanent brain damage because you're upset that they cheated. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, shame on Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly. I'm glad he got suspended. Again, that was throughout the week. It said 8 games, so he'll probably be back maybe next week or the week after. Because again, they play a total of 3 games in the series, so he'll be back soon. But I just For real, I just think it's ridiculous. I thought it was a cheap shot. I think they tried to appeal it, but at this point, I believe that the Major League Baseball did say to him that they are going to suspend him for 8 games, and rightfully so. I just think it's ridiculous that's the motto going in for the Astros. Like, yeah, we're pissed you cheated, but we're going to come right out and try to hurt you permanently. You know, it doesn't make any sense, dude. If they cheated, fine, but that should not be the goal of every single team that they face. But that is it, you guys, on Major League Baseball news of the week. Again, the biggest one being that coronavirus did hit the season, and at this point, the season's still going. I haven't heard really much else, and but again, do not be surprised if Rob Manfred and them pull the plug on that season because there's just too many cases of either guys opting out for the rest of the season because they worry about the epidemic, or that there's just more cases piling up of this team got it, so now we gotta switch up the schedule 1,000 times. It becomes such a brain fart. You don't want to keep having to switch up the schedule and changing different, flight plans here and there just to, try to continue a season that a lot of people understand, including myself, that you could just postpone or wait till next year. Again, I'm happy that baseball is back, but it's not worth it because at this point, they have not done a good job. As a whole, they have not done a good job of keeping it under wraps and making sure that this coronavirus, it's going to happen, but, keep it more, contained. But like I said, that's it, you guys, for episodes 22, Sunday Sports Rapper Shaun portion of Major League Baseball news of the week. Now we're going to move on to the NFL. Okay, guys, so to NFL news of the week. Minnesota Vikings running back Alvin Cook reports to training camp. Vikings running back will have to get a COVID-19 test. He would have to get tested for COVID-19 after it was reported he was going to hold out during the training camp. The reason there was rumors he was going to hold out was that Dalvin Cook was going to hold out. The reason why Dalvin Cook was going to hold out is because there were contract negotiations between he wanted an extension and the Minnesota Vikings at this point have not given him the extension. So he was supposed to hold out, and I believe at this point he did report to camp. Now there's still chances. I did read that his agent did come out and say they're still discussing things and hoping that things can move forward with Cook and Minnesota Vikings. But, not surprising here that he has to get tested because, him not reporting to camp, he's reporting to camp now, but not being around his teammates, not being around the organization, they just want to make sure, whatever he was doing, he's good, he's clean, and that's pretty much, it with that. Besides that, on a good note, it's good for Vikings fans. I'm pretty sure they're excited Dalvin Cook is there. When he's healthy, that man is a beast for the Vikings. Just last year, he had a breakout season at 24 years old, by the way. Dalvin Cook is a good running back. At 24 years old last year, he had 1,135 rushing yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. So, again, Dalvin Cook is a really good back to have on your team. So I'm pretty sure the Minnesota Vikings is happy to see that he is, that he is there, reporting camp with his teammates. Number 1 overall pick, quarterback Joe Burrow signed his $36 million rookie contract. Contract does involve a $23.9 million signing bonus, according to ESPN's own Adam Schefter. So here we go, you guys. The era of Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals has officially begun since Burrow, signed this deal this week. The young quarterback now has he has the tall task of turning around a Cincinnati Bengals franchise that was 2-14 last year and hasn't had a winning record in the last 4 seasons. So we'll see how Joe Burrow does in his first season with the Bengals. We all know who Joe Burrow is. If you watch college football, he had a hell of a season last year. Heisman Trophy winner, leading the LSU. I believe they went undefeated. LSU Tigers to undefeated season and winning national championship over the Clemson Tigers. So again, the Joe Burrow era begins, and I'm hoping the best for the dude. I like the guy, and I hope he does turn around Cincinnati Bengals organization. So it's all task. You hope obviously it's not just on his shoulders; it's on the rest of the team organization as well. But again, they should be excited. We should be expecting to see Joe Burrow start from the first week of the season. He should be the starting quarterback, and we're going to see what he can do. And obviously, we'll be here on Sunday Sports Rapper Shaun, reporting, results and see how he does, if he deserves Rookie of the Year and all that. Or he might struggle. I mean, a lot of rookies going to the NFL, especially quarterbacks, first year, do struggle. So it happens. NFL players opting out of the 2020 season. So remember I brought up that Major League Baseball players? At least one guy opted out. Well, the NFL has had just a list of players doing it week after week after week. And mostly just it's kind of like day to day with them. But yes, NFL players opting out of the 2020 season. At this point, it is expected there will be news of players opting out and deciding not to play this upcoming season due to the coronavirus epidemic. The Patriots already as a team have 6 players confirmed they won't play. Actually, that list went up to 7 because I think one of the wide receivers just dropped out yesterday. That list of players involves Pro Bowl linebacker, inside linebacker, Dante Hightower, and a really good safety who I like, Patrick Chung, on the Patriots. So at this point, the Patriots already have 7 players, and 2 of those guys involve 2 of their best defenders on their team. So here, just a quick list, you guys, of names that did opt out this season. I'm not gonna go through every single body, but these are the names that were just popping up, and I just wrote down on my script for Sunday Sports Rap with Shaun, episode 22. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Marquise Goodwin has opted out. Houston Texans defensive tackle Vander Doss won't play in 2020. He opted out. Saints tight end Cole Wick is going to sit out 2020 season. He opted out. Tennessee Titans offensive tackle Anthony McKinney opted out. Green Bay Packers wide receiver Devin Funchess opted out. And Kansas City Chiefs running back Damian Williams, who was very important to their Super Bowl season last year during the playoffs, he opted out. Like I said, these aren't the only guys that opted out. It won't be the last. Again, it seems like every single day we're getting more news of NFL players opting out the season because of the coronavirus epidemic. Some of these players have, kids and family they have to worry about, so they're just not trying to endanger their family. It's just that simple. It's that simple. These players are human. I don't know why I need to say this, but I have to say this. You guys know I do this every week because it seems like the more and more players you see that opts out of the season, especially NFL, because NFL hasn't started yet, these players will be called soft or, oh my goodness, I wish my job would let me opt out and I still get paid millions. It's just these ignorant people, they're just jealous clowns who sits in their basement and just, use their Twitter fingers or Facebook, whatever you want to say, and just get upset over this for no reason. This has nothing to do with getting millions or anything. I don't know why people, I don't know why people in general worries about other guys' pockets. Like, why are you so in their pockets and worry about what they're doing? They just want to protect their families. That's more important entertaining you clowns that act like they have some type of job to responsibility to you. Man, they have families, and it should not be surprised to anyone why they decided to opt out. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Marquise Goodwin was a sad thing hearing him opt out for me as a Philadelphia Eagles fan because we just got him this year. Trading a draft pick for him. And he was going to be used very well because he's a speedy wide receiver that could have been used, down the field and to help Carson Wentz out, who was lacking wide receivers last year. But I'm not upset at Marquise Goodwin for opting out because of one thing. He cares about his family. There was reported that I believe he won ESPN First Take, and he told Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith that his wife has had many miscarriages. And they just had their first baby not that long ago. So he doesn't want to take... How do you not understand, just that example alone, the man cares more about protecting his family than playing a football game. It just don't make sense. There's no Philadelphia Eagle fan that should be upset about this. There should be no one upset about this. The man wants to take care of his family. These players want to take care of their families. They just don't want to get the coronavirus. Even if it turns out they'll be okay and all this other stuff you hear on the media and the news, they don't want to get sick. They want to put their family in any type of danger. So there should be no one that should be upset at these players for opting out. It just don't make any sense at this point. You would think, again, I'm going to try to tell myself to stop saying that, but I get triggered so fast when I go on Bleacher Report comments or I see Twitter comments and I see people hashtagging these players are soft. And, dude, they just care about the safety. You would feel the same way if someone in your family, God forbid someone in your family catches this virus and they die from it or whatever, then you're all up in arms that they didn't cancel the season or so prior. You can't make everyone happy, but I gotta understand these guys are human. It's not that hard to understand. They want to protect their families. I say that a million times, man. Moving on for NFL news of the week. Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen says he's tired of the disrespect. This came after the NFL Top 100 list was released, and Keenan Allen was 77th on the list. What pissed him off was there was a lot of wide receivers that was ahead of him. Keenan Allen then went on Twitter and said, and I quote, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the list goes on, are not better receivers than me. They may be faster than me, but separation-wise, child, please. Then he went to say he is the best wide receiver in his division, which is the AFC West. So that was his day. Basically, again, like I said, I should say end quote. Basically, he was saying that he's the best wide receiver in his division. I believe that. I believe that because Tyreek Hill's in that division. You can have a good argument between Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. But look, this overall, man, look, the whole list was trash. The whole top 100 list is just trash. That was when you're making a vomit type sound. It was trash, dude. I hated the NFL 100 list already prior to this, but it's just garbage, dude. I actually hate it with a passion. I don't know how they go about voting for this. I heard first it's the players that do the voting. Then if the players do that, then it has me thinking, well, these players clearly are biased towards who they want to be in the list, or they just don't watch these other players they vote for or don't vote for. And then I heard it's the NFL higher up. So I don't know who to believe. Everyone's telling me that they think it's the players, and then not everyone, but there's half of people I talk to say it's the players that make the votes. The other half I talk to, they're saying it's the NFL higher ups. And if it's analysts, dude, it's even more worse because these dudes that are analysts that think they know the game, they know I could say, I guess, X's and O's. But when it comes to just choosing, it all comes down to biases, dude. Like biases. I don't understand how Keenan Allen's 77. But it gets worse for me. I love Keenan Allen. I believe he's a very underrated wide receiver, and it's ridiculous he's still underrated after all this time. And I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. But as far as the NFL Top 100 list, it's a joke. I have to stop seeing that. I should just start blocking NFL every time they start posting that list. It's just ridiculous. It's garbage. Because to me, whoever does the list, it don't matter if it's the players or the NFL higher-ups or analysts in general, they're idiots. They're idiots and they don't know football, period. Remember, NFL Top 100 list is supposed to be based off what you've done last year. That's it. That's how you get on the NFL Top 100 list. It always changes. Either the same guys is on there and they either get pushed back because maybe they had a down year, or there's just guys on there that did so well that wasn't on the list last year. They get on the list this year. This is a top 100 list this year. This NFL top 100 list this year did not have Carson Wentz. Didn't have Carson Wentz on the dang list, but they had Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Rosen and Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray on the list. Dak Prescott made the list. For you Cowboys fans who are happy, he made the list at 43. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo finished in the top 25, I believe, for the 49ers on the list. But yes, I'm annoyed. Carson Wentz, the guy that threw 4,000 passing yards without a single wide receiver reaching 500 yards. By the way, that's NFL history for you casuals that don't do your homework. How was that? And he still led an injury-riddled team in the Philadelphia Eagles to the division title and a playoff spot. But that was not enough to get on your top 100 list. I do not understand. There's literally an agenda, I feel, the trend of hating on Carson Wentz. I don't understand how he does not make that list. I don't understand that. I didn't say you had to put him in the top 10. I didn't say you had to put him in number 1. Dude, he has to make the list somehow, especially over Josh Rosen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray had an up and down rookie year. He was a damn rookie last year and had an up and down year. But he's on the top 100. Okay. I don't know, man. Maybe it's a bunch of Cowboys fans. I don't know who makes this damn list, but it's so garbage. I have no problem with Dak Prescott being on the list. Dak Prescott had a good year last year. Just was, to me, overhyped, but I'm not going to bring up all that. So I don't have no problem with him on the list. I don't know how Carson does not make the list, the guy that led his team to the playoffs. How do y'all make this list? I'm so confused. I hate it. Excuse me. But back to the Keenan Allen thing, because I already knew I was going to rant about that. If you know me very well, you knew I was going to bring up Carson Wentz. But back to the Keenan Allen thing, because this is about him. It's not about Carson. He is right, though. I don't know how, but Keenan Allen has been the most underappreciated and underrated wide receiver since he's been in the league. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and just last season he had 104 catches for 1,199 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. 104 catches, and he was 77th on the list. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna say too. I guess because maybe I appreciate offensive linemen and stuff. Like, I don't know how offensive linemen be rating higher than some of these dudes that play wide receiver, quarterback, running back. I don't know. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe because I understand the art of blocking as much. I understand offensive linemen are very, very important. Don't get me wrong. They're very important. Vital pieces to your team. But some of these dudes offensive line be getting into the top 20, top 30 over guys like a Keenan Allen and dudes that had, I don't know. It's very weird how they make this this list. And it's so terrible. I hate the freaking list. I hate it. Quick one here. Chargers also on the Chargers. They're likely to start Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. Head coach Anthony Lynn says Tyrod Taylor will likely start week 1 of the season. The Los Angeles Chargers did draft a quarterback in the NFL this offseason, and that was former Oregon Ducks star quarterback Justin Herbert. The 6'6" quarterback was drafted 4th overall by the Chargers, but head coach Anthony Lynn said that Herbert hasn't been able to get any reps or practice enough to consider him the starter. So obviously, he says a quick one here. It's understandable. Tyrod Taylor being the veteran, he's been in the NFL, long enough, and obviously the Chargers trust him enough to at least kick things off for when the season does start. Justin Herbert, the guy they did draft with 4th overall this prior year because they're all season. Because of coronavirus, obviously with everything being shut down, facilities and everything, it's probably been tough for Justin Herbert, any quarterbacks coming in to really get any good reps with their teammates. Trying to do the social distancing thing. So understandable if they go with Tyrod Taylor. So if you're a Chargers fan, you have to wait for the Justin Herbert era to begin. And again, depending on how the Chargers, usually how teams do it in NFL, if your season's over, if you're not really playing towards anything, maybe around week 10 or week 11, they'll bring in the rookie quarterback and just let him finish out the rest of the year and see how he is, see how he looks. So that could happen with the Chargers. Or, listen, Tyrod Taylor could be great this year, and they just play him as a starter throughout the entire year. It's not wrong with a rookie quarterback sitting his first year. Again, you can always learn from the veterans and stuff like that, learn how the NFL is, learn what kind of approach your team wants you to go with. I'm pretty sure Justin Herbert should have no problem waiting his turn, obviously, because, again, if you're a franchise, you usually start with the veteran, unless, again, if you're the Bengals that don't really have any other quarterbacks and you drafted number 1 overall, you're going to probably start Joe Burrow right off the bat of the season. NFL suspends Antonio Brown. The free agent wide receiver will be suspended for 8 games for violating NFL personal conduct policy. So remember on the episode 21, Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun. Yeah, episode 21, Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun. Last week, I told y'all Antonio Brown demanded the NFL give him some clarity on where he stood with the NFL and with his investigation being over and all the nonsense, that he did last year. And NFL finally gave him something. It was this week reported again. The NFL suspended him 8 games. So now that means for sure. That just means for sure, by the way, that he can play this year. It's not like no delayed thing. If the NFL does have a season this year and Antonio Brown signs with any team, he has to serve an 8-game suspension first. But after that, the man can play. So despite everything we've seen, everything that was going on with Antonio Brown, a very, very confusing man, the dude only got suspended for 8 games. To me, that's really a slap on the wrist. That's really nothing if you think about all the chaos he basically caused last year. It's really crazy. Now, there haven't been a lot of teams that showed big interest in him. The only team really, though, was two, actually. I forgot to say I said the only teams. But the two teams that are interested is the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, MVP quarterback from the Ravens, he came out and said this week that he's hoping that the Ravens sign him. He's been practicing with Antonio Brown. They've been doing, like I said, running routes together and stuff like that. And he's been throwing him the ball. So, look, Hollywood Brown came out and said that. The wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens definitely have a shot at getting him. It's just up to the rest of the organization wanting to say, listen, if we get this dude, is it going to be worth it? Like, we know the talent he has on the field, and he seems like he's in really good shape. But is the attitude is like, is he going to have a positive attitude when he's on this team? All right, guys, in the last news for NFL, this week, free agent running back Shaun McCoy signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a decent signing. Just get this right off the bat. This was a decent signing by the Buccaneers, who continue to add weapons to their team. Remember, they got Tom Brady. They added Gronkowski. They got Chris Godwin. They got Mike Evans. And they already, I believe, and adding Shaun McCoy adds weapons to this team. This may not be the LaShawn McCoy of the Philadelphia Eagles' early years, but McCoy can still be a decent back for a team. The Philadelphia Eagles was tied to bringing LaShawn McCoy back. I, for one, was not okay with that. I feel like he's just too old. I feel like that time has passed. Just move on. But the Eagles was tied to bring LaShawn McCoy back, but nothing ever really surfaced to this happening. He did have talks with Deshaun Jackson. LaShawn McCoy did talk with, was it Deshaun Jackson? No, I think he's talking to Mills. I believe he's talking to the Mills. I don't know. Who was he talking to? But he talked to someone in the Philadelphia Eagles organization. And, again, nothing else really surfaced about it. So, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a decent running back right now in LaShawn McCoy. And the Buccaneers, man, they just continue to add more pieces to that team to help Tom Brady out, and which a lot of people believe is going to be a Super Bowl year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that is it, you guys, for the NFL news of the week. Now we're going to move on to NBA, where, of course, like I said, the season was back, and there was a ton of games that were played, and obviously a ton of results. So give me a second, you guys. I'm going to get you guys to the NBA news of the week here on Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun, episode 22. All right, you guys, so here we are, NBA news of the week on Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun, episode 22. The NBA restart officially came back this past Thursday. The NBA came back this Thursday and proved why the NBA is light years ahead of all the leagues around the world. There were two games that started to restart the season, and those games were the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Los Angeles Lakers, a.k.a. for everyone that kept saying it, the Battle of L.A., even though to me it really didn't matter. It's a regular season game, but whatever. Before the Pelicans and Jazz game, though, NBA had an intro video narrated by rapper Meek Mill, talking on social injustice, and then all the players, coaches, and staff members from the Utah Jazz and New Orleans Pelicans took a knee during the national anthem, and so did everyone for the Los Angeles Clippers and Los Angeles Lakers. Take a knee, held hands. It was just a great thing to see. See all race of people, white, black, Hispanic, didn't matter. Just band together. So a great job by the NBA again, just proving why they're light years ahead of everyone else when it comes to sports leagues around the world. So here's the results of the NBA restart game for all the teams. Again, this was through Thursday through Saturday. There's games coming on. I believe there's one game coming on today, but again, it's Sunday. I'm doing this at 9 o'clock in the morning. So obviously, I'm not going to get those results until next week. But again, so we're going to start here on Thursday. The Utah Jazz won a tight game, 106-104, 106-104 against the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans had a huge lead, as many as 16 points, but the Utah Jazz came back in the fourth quarter. Rudy Gobert, the center for the Utah Jazz, hit the game-winning free throws to win the game. How crazy is that? For people that don't know, Rudy Gobert was the very first, on the Utah Jazz, he was the very first player in the NBA back in March before the season was suspended. He was the very first player that tested positive for coronavirus and had to shut that. He was kind of the one that started the whole thing that Once he got positive, the rest of the leagues basically shut down. And crazy thing enough, when in this game back, this first one back on Thursday, he actually was the first one to score points in the game. He was the first one to get points for either team, and then was the one at the game-winning free throws to win the game when it was tied 104 to 104, and then he hit the 2 free throws to help the Jazz win 106-104 against the Pelicans. Isn't that crazy how things work out? Like, that's insane. The first dude that turned out to have the coronavirus and stopped the entire season at first comes right back and wins the game for his team. That's insane. Utah Jazz point guard Jordan Clarkson helped along the way score 23 points off the bench, while their franchise shooting guard Donovan Mitchell poured in 20 points. Most of those came in the fourth quarter, so Donovan Mitchell was obviously clutch for the Jazz. New Orleans Pelicans' leading scorer was Brandon Ingram, who had 23 points. He missed the game winner to end the game. I did not like by the way, just get this out of the way, I did not like the way they ended it for the Pelicans. They basically set up a player was this isolated play where Ingram was the one to take the 3. I think J.J. Redick, who is to me more of a pure shooter than Brandon Ingram, who had J.J. Redick had 21 points. He should have been the one to shoot the shot, but whatever. It's one game, but they did lose. The biggest thing from this game, I'm pretty sure a lot of you want to know, is because that's literally all you've probably heard about, is Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson had 13 points on 15 minutes of playing. 13 points, right? He shot 6 of 8. That sounds good. But only played 15 minutes. Did he get hurt? Anything? No. The Pelicans just did not play him for the rest of the game. The dang Pelicans still has this guy on a minute restriction. For people that don't follow NBA, when a guy is on a minutes restriction, that player usually has a set amount of minutes he will be playing. So I guess 15 was the max for Zion Williamson. The confusing thing here is there's only 8 games, by the way. I told you guys this. There's only 8 games in this NBA restart until the playoffs. So the Pelicans at this point is not in the playoffs. So why do you not have one of your best players on a minute restriction? I do not understand that. I don't understand that. You got invited back to this NBA restart out of the 22 teams. You have a chance to at least capture the 8th seed, which the NBA is trying their absolute best to make sure that the Pelicans do, so we can get a Zion Williamson versus LeBron James, which I don't know why, in the first round with the Lakers and Pelicans. I would have the Lakers sweeping them 4-0. I don't know why. But the fact that they have him on a minutes restriction just doesn't make any sense. Now, we'll get to Zion Williamson again in a little bit because the Pelicans had another game yesterday. Again, as I'm going through the results, and I'm just telling you exactly why I'm not behind the hype of Zion Williamson. But we'll get to that in a little bit. The next game that ended the night for the Thursday, the whole restart. Los Angeles Lakers beat the Los Angeles Clippers 103-101. It was another good game. I watched this game from beginning to end, and I can say the Lakers played with more energy than the Clippers. Seemed like LeBron and them was just way more, really bringing more intensity than the Clippers did. This game was a good one, though, and really brought out the excitement that the NBA is back. The Lakers' main guy this game was forward Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a straight-up beast for people that don't know. I don't know how you do not know that. AD dominated this game from beginning to end with 34 points with 8 rebounds. I believe he went to the free throw line, though, like 16, 17 times. That's where he got majority of his points from the free throw line, but again, he dominated the Clippers from beginning to end. Other big thing, of course, was LeBron James. Now, LeBron didn't shoot the ball well, but he did everything you expect from King James, making key passes to his teammates, making clutch buckets, including a putback that won the game. He missed a shot. It was 101-101, I believe, like 40 seconds or so left. And LeBron missed, I think it was like maybe 10 seconds or so left. He missed like a shot. He was, I forgot who was defending it, but he missed a shot. And then immediately, for some reason, there was like 4 Clippers around the ball, like 4 Los Angeles Clippers players sitting around him, but no one boxed him out. And LeBron's big as hell. So he literally just he jumped back up and just put the ball back in and put the Lakers up 106-104, which ended up being obviously the end score of the game. Clippers' big duo, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, played well, but the big thing in this game was how LeBron was locking up Kawhi in the clutch moments during the fourth quarter. Paul George missed the game-winning three-pointer at the end, which gave the Lakers the win, 106-104. These two teams are expected to be on a collision course in the playoffs. This was basically like everyone's Western Conference finals. Yeah, these are the two teams everyone's looking at between the Lakers and Clippers. Usually whoever wins this one, people believe whoever wins that between these two will probably go on to win the NBA Finals. We'll see. I still got the Clippers in 7, but if a certain league has their way, the Lakers will probably win this damn thing. Asher Tech. Moving on though, Friday. On to Friday's results. Orlando Magic beat the Brooklyn Nets 128-118. Orlando Magic center Nikola Vucic poured in 22 points with 7 rebounds, and Evan Fournier, Orlando Magic's guard, helped as well, putting up 24 points, shooting 10 of 15 from the floor. With this win, the Magic moved to the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to break down everything. I thought I was going to break down every single thing as far as the standings, but I'll probably do that when it's close to when the season's over because, again, this thing changes every second. Because again, remember it's only 8 regular season games, so they're really just trying to do playoff seeding. And then, like I said, if there's teams that's that's out of the playoffs, sitting at a 9th spot or maybe 10th spot, they're trying their way to get to the 8th seed. So I'm just, I'll just wait. So maybe like the last couple of games and see how because at that point some teams probably locked up the number 1 seed or number 2, number 3. So bear with me, but you'll hear the standings after all this. If you're too damn lazy to go check it on yourself. But it's my job. I'll bring it to you guys as time goes on. But just not now again because season just came back. Other Friday results still on Friday here in NBA restart. Portland Trailblazers edged out the Memphis Grizzlies in overtime 140-135. The Blazers duo of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum showed out in this game with CJ scoring 33 points and Lillard pouring in 29 points. Carmelo Anthony of the Blazers added 21 points, including a clutch 3-pointers late in the game to help push this game into overtime. The Grizzlies hold the 8th seed in the Western Conference with the Blazers, Pelicans, and Kings on their heels to get the 8th seed. Remember, there are only 8 games. 8 games teams will play. I know I keep saying that, but keep it refreshing your mind. There's only 8 games teams will play before the playoffs start. So right now, the Blazers have to feel good with this win, especially because of Clippers. The Pelicans lost the day earlier. And, of course, the Blazers beating the Grizzlies, so that helps with tiebreak and stuff like that. I'll bring up the standings once the season heading to a close. Phoenix Suns beat the Washington Wizards 125-112. Not really going to break this game down. I don't really care about this game. I don't feel like either team between the Phoenix Suns or the Washington Wizards really will make the playoffs. I'm still kind of confused why they were invited back to the restart, but whatever. Because I really think the race is between, as far as the Western Conference goes, it's between the Kings, Pelicans, and Blazers. That's pretty much it. I don't give the Suns any chance. And as far as the Wizards, they're in the Eastern Conference. They probably could sneak into the 8th seed because the Eastern Conference is just that terrible. But at this point, these are two teams I don't care about. I just stated the result, though. Phoenix Suns did beat the Washington Wizards 125-112. Milwaukee Bucks wins a close game opener against Boston Celtics 119-112. The MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, showed up in this game and set the tone for the entire game. Giannis Antetokounmpo dominated with 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Bucks snapped the losing streak coming into the restart. Right now, it seems like a lot that the Milwaukee Bucks will be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, which obviously means home court advantage throughout the entire playoffs, until the NBA Finals and all the other stuff. Boston Celtics star player Jason Tatum had a horrible game, scoring only 5 points, shooting 2 of 18 from the floor. Despite this, though, the Celtics only lost by 7, which should be a good, kind of a good thing for the Celtics. You had one of your best players who had an outstanding season in Jason Tatum. He shot horribly, but you only lost by 7 points. Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, he gave the Celtics 22 points while Marcus Smart came off the bench and scored in 23 points. I still think you should watch out for the Celtics in the playoffs. I still got the Bucks coming out. The Milwaukee Bucks is my team that's going to come out of the East. But I'm telling you, there's 2 teams that I would literally worry about. I'm going to state the second team in a bit. But the first team I'm telling you is the Boston Celtics. So I think Milwaukee Bucks should be careful about that matchup later on down the road. But again, let's just get this out of the way too. Giannis Antetokounmpo, like I said, the man's MVP. 36 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. Listen, that man's MVP this year. Just get that through your skulls. San Antonio Spurs beat the Sacramento Kings in their opener 129-120. And to end out the Friday was a crazy game between the Houston Rockets winning their opener in overtime against the Dallas Mavericks 153-149. 153-149 sounds like a damn all-star game. So the game was all offense for both teams. The Rockets in the first half gave up 85 points to the Mavericks and was trailing by 10 points in the first half. It was 85-75 Dallas after the first half, dude. You talk about social distancing. They were social distancing when it came to defense. Both teams. 85-75 in the first half. That's just not okay. If you want defense, you want your team to play defense. In the last minute of the fourth quarter, though, Seth Curry for the Dallas Mavericks missed a free throw that kept the Mavericks from winning the game. The Rockets ended up tying the game and forcing overtime because of it. The biggest story here was Houston Rockets guard James Harden. Harden, his first game back for an NBA restart, had 49 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists while shooting 14 of 20 from the floor. The beard was in his bag. Russell Westbrook helped with 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. I literally remember so-called analysts. You know, there's analysts out there that was saying the duo Westbrook and Harden couldn't work. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, sure. Dallas Mavericks got a great game out of forward Kristaps Porzingis, who had 39 points, 16 rebounds for the Mavericks. But the Mavericks head coach, Rick Carlisle, should be disappointed, though, on how the team closed out this game. With this win, the Rockets moved up in the Western Conference standings to the 5th seed. And like I said, it's constant moving pieces going on in the playoffs. Most notably, again, Western Conference. Western Conference is so much better than Eastern Conference. There's just, in the Western Conference, like, after maybe the first 2 seeds, like 3 through 7, 3rd seed, 4th seed, 5th seed, 6th seed, 7th seed, they're constantly changing. Like, all their records look identical. Just look it out for yourself, man. It's crazy. But again, with that win, the Rockets moved up in the Western Conference standings to the 5th seed. Saturday results. Miami Heat blew out the Denver Nuggets 125-105. This game was close after the first half, with the Nuggets leading at half by 1 point. The Miami Heat had an explosive third quarter, scoring 38 points in the third quarter. Denver was without 3 starters this game, but nonetheless, the Heat took care of business. So I don't hear no excuses like, oh my goodness, Denver did not have their 3 dudes. Listen, Miami did what they're supposed to do. 8 games, dude. There's only 8 games. So listen, I'm not going to feel sorry for you if you're missing starters. We're supposed to, we got to win these games. Miami Heat shooting guard Jimmy Butler scored 22 points, getting to the free throw line 11 times and making 10 of them. As a team, Miami had 6 players who scored 10 or more points. Again, maybe I told y'all there's 2 teams that I believe that will give Milwaukee Bucks a run for their money to get to the finals. Well, here you go. You just met my second team who I'm predicting. Again, the Milwaukee Bucks is my pick to get out of the Eastern Conference, but the Miami Heat is a team you're going to have to watch. Them and the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, I'm telling you, the one thing about the freaking Miami Heat is that they can score and put up points on you, and they can lock you up. That team can lock you up. To me, it's the same thing with the Boston Celtics. They can score, but they can lock you up and force you to work really hard to get your bucket. So again, Milwaukee Bucks is my choice, but right now I would not be surprised sleeper teams of Boston and Miami coming out of the Eastern Conference and stealing a series away from the Milwaukee Bucks. Moving on to Saturday's results, or I'll say basically yesterday's results. Oklahoma City Thunder pounds Utah Jazz 110-94. This game wasn't even close. It was Oklahoma City Thunder the entire game. In my opinion, Chris Paul should be an MVP candidate. He scored 18 points, and the Thunder continued their surprising great play, even though coming to the season, everyone thought they was going to be a lottery team after they lost Russell Westbrook and Paul George in the exact same offseason. They lost Paul George and Russell Westbrook a year prior to this, and Chris Paul, who knows where this Chris Paul came from? Chris Paul has led this team So I believe they're a six seed now, and they right now basically are going to be a lock for the playoffs. I don't know what seeding they're going to be, but they're a lock for the playoffs. And that to me, I'm not saying that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the MVP for me, but Chris Paul his name should absolutely be in MVP discussion. Period. But it was a great win from beginning to the end for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Utah Jazz just had nothing. They could not hit any shots, and it was getting locked up from beginning to end defensively by Oklahoma City Thunder. Los Angeles Clippers beat down the New Orleans Pelicans 126 to 103. This was another game where the Clippers, this time it was the Clippers who was winning from beginning to end. Clippers embarrassed the Pelicans from the start as the Clippers made a franchise record 25 three-pointers. 25 three-pointers. The dynamic duo of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George was in full effect. Leonard scoring 24 points and George scoring 28 points. Paul George hit 8 three-pointers in this game. It was a nice bounce-back win for the Clippers overall after they lost to the Lakers on Thursday. As for the Pelicans, it was a horrible performance. So right now, if you can count, they are 0-2 right now during this NBA restart. They're 0-2. Remember, this is a team that's trying to push for this eighth seed, and they're 0-2. But yeah, it was a horrible performance for the Pelicans. At one point, it looked like the Pelicans players was playing with no energy. It looked like they quit when the Clippers was up 25 to 30 points in the second quarter. Yeah, it was that bad. There was a point where the lead for the Clippers was up to 40. Like, it was bad throughout the entire game. Zion Williamson still, to me, doesn't he scored, I think, like 7 points. He had 7 points and 5 rebounds, and he only played 14 minutes in this game. Now, some people, you probably use the excuse and the reason that he didn't play much, like a lot of minutes in this game, is because the game was already over by the third and fourth quarter. So there was really no reason to, put him out there as a chance for injury, whatever. Fine. But I told you guys, I'll give y'all my little input on Zion Williamson. I believe the dude can be a great talent. I'm not saying he's not. He's very young, and pretty sure he's hungry to get better. But remember, as I told y'all, the ESPNs of the world, sports medias of the world, they have an agenda every time with with a young player or anybody, where they'll force this dude's name down your throat and make sure you know that they're trying to push him as the next face of the NBA. And that's exactly what bringing the Pelicans back, to me at this point, is kind of proving. Because if you look at it, like I said, they lost a close one on Thursday to the Jazz. So you're like, okay, whatever, first game. But second game, you get blown out by a title contender and looks like you just have no energy to the Los Angeles Clippers. And you're telling me I should feel good about a matchup between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James and AD in their way. Zion Williamson, to me, does not look like this so-called special player. I feel like I've seen this player before, a guy that can do nothing right now but dunk. He doesn't have any post moves. Zion Williamson is just a guy where he puts the ball on the floor and he tries to use his strength to get by you. There's no craftiness to it. There's nothing to it. He just tries to use his strength. But when teams like the Clippers, if you watched the game yesterday, make him actually put the ball on the floor and force him to do something else, he's not doing anything else for it. He can block shots and all this other stuff, but Zion Williamson, at this point, should not be this so-called face of the NBA, yo. There is a lot of young players that right now I would choose over Zion Williamson. And a lot of people put the blame on the Pelicans, say, yeah, they haven't given him a lot of minutes to show what he can do. Dude, the point I'm making is, what can he really do? Seriously, at this point, he's just using his strength to get dunks. That's it. And they're more so, the dunks are alley-oops. He's very athletic for his age. And he will get better, I believe. And I will be the first one to admit, okay, look, y'all, I can see what they're saying. This man looks like a top 10 player. Dude, he's not even a rookie year candidate to me. That does not make sense. But this is the NBA. This is ESPN. This is their media's agenda to push a Zion Williamson, even though there's guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo still in this league. That's Ja Morant, point guard from Memphis Grizzlies in this league, a Trae Young in this league. I do not a Luka Doncic in this league, a Jason Tatum. I could keep going on. I don't know why Zion is chosen as this dude when he has done nothing at this point to show you that he should be the face of this league. I don't get it. It's just dunks right now. That's it. I'm not, and again, I believe down the road he'll show great potential. He'll definitely reach his potential. I believe he's hungry for that. But it's ridiculous that they already be forcing a name down your throat like this man has accomplished anything at this point in his career. Again, the freaking Pelicans are not helping the matters when they're giving them minutes restrictions. But at the same time, the dude was being locked up. He had a negative, the plus minus is usually, a plus minus means in NBA, the impact that you had on your team when you were on the floor. He had a minus 20. He had a minus 20. So it's not even like when he was out there, they was doing great. The 14 minutes he played yesterday against the Clippers, he still did. He still, you know what I mean? He wasn't that helpful. And there was a scary injury, or not scary injury, I won't say, but he came up limping after he tried to do a layup against the Clippers yesterday. And as soon as he started limping, the Pelicans took him right out of the game. And I think they brought him back in like beginning of the third. But overall, once you saw him go down and believe like he twisted his ankle a little bit and he was limping a little bit, he turned out to be fine, which is great. But after that, every fan, like literally on social media, hashtag NBA Twitter was like, dude, okay, yeah, you got to take him out, bro. He just also looks like he's not in shape. He looks like he's 300 pounds, and he just does not look like he's in basketball shape. If you watch the way he moves, it looks like he gets tired very quickly. He doesn't have a lot of energy to him. Maybe after like the first 15 minutes of the game go by, it just does not look promising right now. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that was my spiel on Zion Williamson, dude. I'm not sold on this dude yet. This is the same way I felt. I told people when Ben Simmons came into the league. Ben Simmons is a great talent, but the dude still does not. He still refuses to shoot the damn ball. He still refused to show that there's more to his game than passing and playing some good defense here and there. What else can Ben Simmons do? Please explain to me what else can he do besides pass on offense? What else can he do? Pass, dunk. Is he really helping? Like, I'm really asking you. Like, it's crazy to me that people give these guys this savior or the face label when these dudes haven't done shit. They haven't done anything, and they're not even the best players on their team. Zion Williamson's not even close to being the best player on this team. Brandon Ingram's the best player on that team. You could probably put Zion maybe a second and third, maybe, but I would put Jrue Holiday over Zion. Honestly, Jrue Holiday is a very unappreciated point guard for the Pelicans, underrated point guard. But, yeah, that's my spiel on Zion Williamson. Also, Saturday game result yesterday. Indiana Pacers beat the 76ers 127-121. This was a good tight game through the entire time, but the Pacers edged the Sixers out. But the big thing here was T.J. Warren, small forward T.J. Warren for Indiana Pacers. He scored a career-high 53 points, shooting 20 of 29 from the floor, and also 9 of 12 from the three-point line. T.J. Warren, by the way, I think his career high was 25 or 29 at one point. Yeah, 29 was his career high. By the way, he got that 29 in the first half in this game, and he ended up with 53 points. It's a huge win for the Pacers despite the fact they was without their two starters. As for 76ers, listen, this is the team I never really had faith in. Had faith in, from the beginning. 76 to me has been overrated and pretenders literally for this entire season and for a while. And right yesterday just added to it. Listen, the Pacers are not a bad team. Indiana Pacers are not a bad team, but the Sixers should have beaten the Pacers. When you're without their two starters and you have Joel Embiid and, Ben Simmons to some people and Tobias Harris and these guys, and they're and the 76ers is based off defense, and you give up 53 points to one player on your first game back in the NBA restart. It did not look good. The loss with this locked 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers into the 6th seed for the playoffs, which could mean a first round exit, which I am predicting will happen. If the Sixers stay the 6th seed right now, they would face the Celtics in 7 games. I am not giving the Sixers that series. Celtics would beat them in 6, 4-2. But yeah, overall, yeah, the 76ers to me is overrated. I know a lot of Philadelphia 76ers fans are going to be pissed when they hear that, but to me, they're overrated. I just don't think they're that good, and they've done that. They've been up and down all year. Sometimes they show bursts of like title contenders, then other times they just show you that they're not there. And I honestly believe Ben Simmons plays a big part in that. I really do. It wasn't Joel Embiid's fault. Joel Embiid had 41 points and 21 rebounds yesterday. I'm just saying, dude. Like, listen, I'm just saying. And to round out the night here on NBA, and of course close out the NBA news of the week, Toronto Raptors beat the Los Angeles Lakers 107-92 yesterday Saturday night. The Raptors ran away with this game in the fourth quarter with Toronto Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry leading the way with 33 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. It's a point guard, buddy. And by the way, listen, Kyle Lowry is a good point guard, man. Like, very little, crafty, but he's a little dude. 33 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. He balled out, man. He dominated the Lakers. Lakers' Anthony Davis struggled in this game after... I'm sorry, I get clear in my throat. Lakers' Anthony Davis struggled in this game after having a monster performance a couple days ago against the Clippers, scoring only 14 points, shooting 2 of 7 from the floor. LeBron James led the Lakers with 20 points and 10 rebounds. The Raptors' defense was a story I heard as they suffocated the Lakers' offense throughout the entire game. Now, full disclosure, to be honest, full honesty here, I did fall asleep during this game, but not because yesterday I was just really tired. I was, while I was writing down constant notes of everything going on with the NHL, NBA, baseball. I was trying to keep up with everything. But I only fell asleep because, again, it was not boring or anything. It was just, I was tired, seriously. The game came on, I think the game came on like around 8. I believe. It wasn't that late when the game came on, but it was just, as time goes on, it just really I was just falling asleep on the couch. I had to watch the highlights this morning before I started recording this episode. I could have watched the highlights on ESPN, but, God knows they would have had 1,000 excuses on why LeBron and the Lakers did not win this game. That's what the media does. I'm saying this because, Toronto Raptors is 47-18. They have 47 wins and 18 losses. The second seed in the Eastern Conference. And no one expected this. After they lost Kawhi Leonard come to this NBA season. Look, they deserve respect. Nick Nurse, to me, he could be the coach of the year if you want. Like, they're the second seed with 47 wins, 18 losses, only trailing the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of respect need to be put on their name as far as on the Toronto Raptors, man. Like, they locked the Lakers up in the fourth quarter. They made it hard for LeBron and company to get that win. It was a well-deserved win by the Toronto Raptors. And LeBron said it himself in the quote, like he said, listen, they were champions for a reason. LeBron, said that. It wasn't just Kawhi, man. As a team, they know who they are, and they're always battling. So shout out to Toronto Raptors, and there's a really good win against the Los Angeles Lakers, who is right now the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. But that is it, you guys, for NBA news of the week. Again, it was very exciting to see all this. I'm going to continue to do this for NBA because, man, it's just great that the NBA is back. I believe we're going to have games every single day. Again, they're just trying to wrap this up. So I believe at this point, everyone's gotten their first game out the way. So now there's only 7 games left. The Clippers, Lakers, Jazz, and Pelicans all right now played 2 games. So they got 6 games left. So they might actually be taking a break for a little bit until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, man, I'm pretty excited. NBA restart to me was a success. The way the players use their platform, take a knee and all that good stuff was really, really was dope to see. It was white, black. All the players and coaches was doing it. I believe one player stood up, and that was a black player, Isaac Clarke from the Orlando Magic. I'm not shaming him for doing that. A lot of players said they understood why he did it. His explanation was all over the place at first, but again, it's fine. He stood up, but he still, he was saying he still supports the movement. But I believe he had a reason why he stood up. But it was a good thing. I'm not going to shame him on here for standing up. Listen, man, you do what you got to do as long as you understand why this movement is happening. I'm not going to upset that you decided to stand during the national anthem. That is you guys, for NBA news of the week. Now we're going to move on to some quick news for the WNBA news of the week. All right, guys, here you are for some quick WNBA news of the week. Rookie Sabrina Alonso bounced back from her first game, but tragic, but sad news did hit afterwards in her next game. But first, like I said, to our first game, after her first game against Seattle Storm was not that good, but Sabrina bounced back this week on Wednesday against the Dallas Wings. The 2020 overall, 2020 number one overall pick. Dominated with a game high 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 11-20 from the field. Also shot 6 of 10 from the 3-point line after going 0-8 from the 3-point line in their debut game last Saturday against the Seattle Storm. Sabrina received a lot of love for her bounce-back game, most notably from Steph Curry and John Morant. The New York Liberty, despite Sabrina's efforts, though, did lose the game to the Dallas Wings 93-80. Sad news, though, did happen to Sabrina the next game after her game where she dominated. When the Liberty was playing the Atlanta Dream, she suffered a left ankle sprain and expect to miss a month. She suffered a grade 3 ankle sprain, which expecting her to miss a month. 2020, the year 2020, man, my goodness, it continues to get us. It just continues to always do something. So the good news is, though, she expected back. A lot of people feared at first that she was going to be out for the season. So, hopes and prayers here to Sabrina. Hope everything comes out. Again, I believe this young lady is going to be a beast in the WNBA, as a lot of people believe. So it really sucks that it's kind of delayed because of this injury. But again, the good news is she will be back, and she already shown what she can do. Like I said, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and only her second game in the WNBA. Shot 6 of 10 from 3. Listen, man, I think she's going to be a beast. But like I said, the good news is she will be back this month. Saturday results from the WNBA with some standings. Seattle Storm did beat the LA Sparks 81-75. Chicago Sky hit a game winner to beat the Washington Mystics 88-86. And the Minnesota Lynx beat the Connecticut Sun 78-69. So those are the only 3 games that was on Saturday. And the standings is right now in the Eastern Conference in WNBA's Eastern Conference. Chicago Sky is 3-1 for the 1 seed. 2 seed in the 2 spot. Washington Mystics is 3-1. In the 3 spot, did I say 2 spot? Yeah, 2 spot for Washington Mystics. 3 spot for Atlanta Dream, they're 2-1. 4 seed for Indiana Fever, they're 1-2. 5 spot, you have New York Liberty, Sabrina's team, who's 0-3. That was amazing. 5th spot, 0-3. And in the 6th spot, the Connecticut Sun is 0-6. So hopefully the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun get a win someday. Hopefully in the upcoming days or so, or at least this week. In the Western Conference of WNBA, the Seattle Storm is 3-1. 2 spot Minnesota Lynx is 3-1. The Dallas Wings sitting at 2-1. 4 spot LA Sparks is 2-2. 5 spot you have the Phoenix Mercury at 1-2. In the 6th spot you have the Las Vegas Aces at 1-2. And as yet, you guys, we're going to move straight on. We're going to just continue right here. We're going to move straight on to the NHL. The playoffs officially started. National Hockey League is officially back. It came back here August 1st. It officially started on Saturday. Qualifying round game 1s was on Saturday. Interesting thing happened before the game started. The first game started. So NHL has been giving mixed emotions, to the Black Lives Matter movement and the use of their platform for social injustice. And just so it's very weird. The way the National Hockey League, they kind of said they support the Black Lives Matter movement and all this, but I guess they have their fans, NHL fans, very confused. Prime example, before the Carolina Hurricanes and New York Rangers game, all the players and coaches stood for the national anthem. So remember I said that the NBA, their coaches and their staff and their players, they all took a knee besides one player, which was Isaac Clarke from the Orlando Magic. New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes, all their players stood for the national anthem. But then, again, here's the mixed part. the fans of NHL teams posted pictures on social media of them taking a knee in their own houses, saying, saying, quote, even if NHL won't take a knee, I will. These were white people that were doing this too. It's crazy. So the NHL's players won't do it, but their fans will. I find that was pretty crazy. But let's just get right into the results, you guys, of the first games of game ones of the qualifying rounds from yesterday, or I guess on Saturday. The number 6 seed Carolina Hurricanes won their game 3-2. Won game one 3-2 over the number 11 seed New York Rangers. Hurricanes started out the gate scoring 1 minute into the game when Jacob Salvin scored the first goal of the game. It wasn't until the second period the Hurricanes scored again to go up 2-0 when Sebastian Aho scored a goal. So at this point, the Carolina Hurricanes was up 2-0. New York Rangers responded with the game still in the second period when a goal was scored by Mike Zinnerhard to cut the game to a 2-1 Hurricanes lead. Excuse me. In the third period, the Hurricanes scored their third goal of the game after Martin Necas scored to make it 3-1 Hurricanes. The Rangers tried to rally after scoring their second goal to cut the deficit to 3-2, but the Hurricanes held on to win the game, like I said, 3-2. The big thing to take away from this game from the New York Rangers standpoint, and probably the reason why they lost, was New York Rangers was 0-7 on power plays during the game. They just could not capitalize when they had the power play in effect for the New York Rangers. Game 2 is on Monday. Remember, the qualifying rounds are a best of 5 series. So it's the first team to 3 wins to move on to the next round. So the Rangers know, and any team knows, obviously at this point, if they lose game 1, that game 2 is important. Game 1 between the number 5 seed Edmonton Oilers and the number 12 seed Chicago Blackhawks went the Chicago Blackhawks way, with Chicago Blackhawks scoring 6 goals to beating Oilers 6-4. Chicago Blackhawks won game 1 over the Edmonton Oilers 6-4. This game started off fast-paced, with the Edmonton Oilers scoring the game's first goal with 2 minutes to start the game. First 2 minutes of the game, they already got the first goal to go up 1-0. But then the Chicago Blackhawks then ripped off 4 straight goals to take a 4-1 lead only in the first period. By the way, this is the most points I've seen scored in a hockey game. I don't watch hockey games that much, but when you miss sports, you realize you just got to start doing those type of things. But yeah, 4 goals in the first period. I was dumbfounded by that. I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. Oh, yeah. In the second period, Edmonton Oilers player Leon Durashi scored the second goal for the Oilers to cut the deficit to 4-2 Blackhawks. But then the Blackhawks scored back-to-back goals to close out the second period to take a 6-2 lead going into the third period. So at this point, it was 6-2 Blackhawks. To finish the game, though, the Oilers did score 2 goals to make it 6-4, but in the end, the Blackhawks controlled the majority of the game, winning 6-4. Game 2 will be on Monday. Excuse me. So yeah, again, the Blackhawks won 6-4. It was a high scoring game. Again, Edmonton tried to make a comeback with their 2 goals late in the third period, but overall, it's like the Blackhawks kind of had this game from beginning to end after they gave up that first goal 2 minutes into the game by Edmonton. But again, Blackhawks is up 1-0. Game 2 will be on Monday. I will have, obviously, because that's on Monday, I do my podcast every Sunday. I will have results from Monday on, telling so you guys can know where the series is at that point. Because obviously, they're going to keep playing games, and the series, the number will keep changing from day to day. Game 1 between the New York Islanders, the 7th seed, versus the 10th seed Florida Panthers. New York Islanders won 2-1. This was a tight game. The Islanders pulled it in the first 2 periods of the game. New York Islanders scored the first goal in the first period, taking a 1-0 lead. In the second period, Islanders' Anthony Belivier scored the second goal to go up 2-0. Before the Panthers did score a goal to make it 2-1, but the game was over after that. Wasn't really much the Panthers could do. It was a great defensive game by both teams, but more so for the Islanders because, again, when they went up 2-0. It took a while for the Panthers to finally get a goal in the game, especially, like I said, the third period. The Panthers just could not get a score afterwards. So, again, it was 2-1 win for the Islanders. Game 2 for them is actually on Tuesday, so they get more of a break than the last two teams. Last two, 4 teams I was just talking about prior. So yeah, 2-1 Islanders. They're up 1-0. Is the higher seed. They have to feel good about that. And the last game that happened was late. I kind of fell asleep for this one too. This one went to overtime. It was a really good game. But this was the last game won on Saturday. There's more that will continue today for Sunday and on and on. But game 1, Montreal, the number 12 seed Montreal's Canadiens, still game 1 against the number 5 seed Pittsburgh Penguins 3-2 in overtime. Game 1 between these two teams was really good. It took overtime for this one to finish as the Canadiens beat the Indians 3-2. In the first period, Montreal scored the only goal to go up 1-0. It was until the second period the Canadiens scored again to take a 2-0 lead, but the Pittsburgh Penguins fought back, scoring back-to-back goals to tie the game at 2-2 apiece. No team scored in the third period, which of course forced overtime, and the Canadiens scored the game-winning goal to steal game 1, 3-2. So if there's any indication, the Penguins and Canadiens will have a great series. This could be one of those series that goes like 2-2, and then whoever wins game 5 moves on. But yeah, this was a huge win for the Canadiens. Again, being the lower seed, that's a 12 seed versus the 5th seeded heavily favored Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby and them dudes. It's a really good win for the Canadiens. Game 2, again, game 2 should be a good one as well. That game 2 will be on Monday. So that's it, you guys, for NHL news of the week. I kind of combined that in the WNBA. Just because WNBA had, like I said, there was not a lot of news for them throughout the week besides Sabrina hurting her ankle. So, all right, guys, so I will move on to the quick sports notes and the outro. Also, to close out this episode of Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun. All right, guys, so one quick note that I saw, sports-worthy this week. In soccer, Arsenal wins the FA Cup, which stands for Football Association Challenge Cup. They won the FA Cup over Chelsea 2-1. So congrats on Arsenal soccer team for being the FA champions. Again, the FA standing for Football Association Challenge Cup for people that did not know. Best thing I saw this week, Matt Wnba. Matt Wnba, a Canadian hockey player who plays for the National Hockey League team Minnesota Wild. Before the game between the Chicago Blackhawks and Edmonton Oilers, Matt Wnba took a knee during the national anthem. He was the first one in National Hockey League that took a knee for the entire season. First one that took a knee throughout all the games yesterday. He was the only one that took a knee. It was inspiring. The reason why it's the best thing I saw this week because it was inspiring to see Matt be the only one to show guts to do this. Everyone on social media was actually more pissed at the rest of the NHL league because of the fact Matt was the only one to take a knee. Again, I'm not going to shame everyone that decides not to take a knee, but and remember I told you I wouldn't do that. Isaac Clark, the player, the NBA player on Orlando Magic, but it was the message. Like I said, his message was all over the place on why he would not take a knee, but he still supports the movement. When it came to National Hockey, like I said, the mixed emotions was they came out and said they support it, but they also said they feel like to their country they have to take a knee. It just still throws that mixed thought, like they still don't understand. It seems like it's the National Hockey League. They still don't understand what the movement is about. Again, this was never taking a knee. Kaepernick did it. Was never about disrespecting any countryman, any countrywoman, anything about that flag. It was just about the social injustice in the world. So the fact, again, it's mixed emotions here because you're saying you support it, but you're publicly coming out saying that, well, we're not going to take a knee because we don't want to disrespect our countrymen. I don't get that. It's a mixed bag with National Hockey League. So yeah, I'm not going to shame every single person for standing up. But Matt Wnba is why the best thing I saw this week was because Matt Wnba, he's being an outcast. He showed that, look, we need to be better. And him taking a knee was just the best thing. Those fans I could have added that too. Those fans who sent the social media pictures on Twitter, Instagram of themselves taking a knee, white people, black people, all different races doing it was really a sign of unity. And it was really, really dope to see. So I don't know, maybe another player will follow Matt Wnba's lead or or maybe it'll say something that makes you feel good about where the NHL stands. Again, it's a mixed bag. But shout out to Matt Dumba for that. That was really dope. This wasn't even his team wasn't even playing. Minnesota Wild was not even playing, and he was at this game to take a knee. The very first game was between the Chicago Blackhawks and Edmonton Oilers, and he decided to be there. I think he gave a speech as well, but before that, he took a knee. It's just great stuff by Matt Dumba. It showed a lot of guts. A lot of analysts, NHL analysts, a lot of fans really, really praised him for that because he was the first one to take that step to really show him, like, listen, there has to be a change. But that's it, you guys, for Sunday Sports Wrap with Shaun episode 22. Like I said, there was a lot to go over. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same thing again because I'm writing this script starting on Sunday. I was told myself I was going to do it Monday, but I'm writing this script starting on Sunday because there's tons of games still going on. Like, there's tons of stuff still going on. So I will always break it down to saying Sunday's results, and then Monday, it's going to be so much. It's going to be a lot because NBA has constant games. So I'll always break it down. Like, hey, this was Sunday's results on so-and-so date, Monday's results, Tuesday's results. I will have that for you guys. Busted my tail over here. So shout out to Cinescape Media. I really appreciate them. They're constantly, keep me upward and help me out here in my rambling, editing out all my rambling stuff. Well, when it comes to this stuff, so shout out to them. You can follow me on Twitter at capital SSW. Everything else is lowercase. Rap with Shaun. Follow my Facebook page, Sunday Sports Rap with Shaun. And of course, like I just said, shout out to Cinescape Media. Make sure you guys subscribe to Cinescape.media. This is your boy, Shaun Bellamy. I'm out. You guys, peace. This was episode 22. I don't know if I said that, but I'm out, you guys. Peace.